All right, so my name is Ben Kelly. If you've never heard about me before, that's not a surprise. I'm a ex-Army intelligence officer, then ex-JPMorgan banker, who got tired of the 9 to 5 and not being able to control my schedule and seeing my family. So I started to do acquisitions. Bought over 10 companies in the past 3.5, 4 years, and because those acquisitions have done fairly well, started getting a lot of cash flow, and decided to build a passive investment portfolio over the last few years. And today is Wednesday, and I'm just here at actually a new property that we just bought that we're going to be building a home on. Kind of renovating it and building a new house, so we're excited about that. And so just decided that I'm going to shoot a quick video and talk about kind of why I'm doing what I'm doing and see if anyone's interested in learning about this type of stuff. And for now, this is probably the only space that I'm going to be doing this type of thing at. Right now, it's kind of like a little private channel. So if you're watching this, it's probably because you follow me somewhere else and I put out the link. But this is not something I'm just blowing up worldwide. It's for those of you who showed interest and you already follow me. Now, most people that make money, they figure out a way to do it in a way where they're good at it, right? They figure out a niche, they figure out a strategy that works really well, and they're able to really 5, 10x their income, okay? And that's step one. Step one is actually making the money, making life-changing cash flow. But then you get to the phase where you start making that cash flow and you have no idea what to do with it. You kind of go out and get a financial advisor. You say, hey, invest it, make me some money. They put it into the market. Maybe you get 10%, right? If you're lucky on it on an average. Some years might be better, some years might be worse. But you kind of like outsource it to somebody else because that's what everyone does. And I think that is selling yourself short. And it's actually probably harming your goals of what you're trying to get at. Because I know for me, once I started making life-changing cash flow, I thought about going the route of Fisher Investments or your kind of Edward Jones and just put it out there, let someone else manage it for you. But I started to think, well, I was able to figure out how to do something that generated the cash flow in the first place. If I put even a fraction of that amount of energy that I put towards that other thing into actually now trying to use that money and get an above market return on it, I bet I can do it. And so I just took the time over the last few years to really go out there, really network, get introduced to a lot of different private type investments that really outperform the market. And I'm not just talking like they get 12% instead of 10%. We're talking above 20% return, sometimes even over 30%. And I started to do it, and it started to work out pretty well. And I told my family and friends that are close to me kind of what I'm doing, and they've also invested and it's done well for them. And I thought, okay, well, maybe I should talk about this more, because it seems like when I mention these things to people, they've never heard of it. They're blown away that there are these types of opportunities out there that are not mainstream, that are not your traditional throw it into the market or go flip a house, but these are actual things that are been around for a long time that make above market returns. And over one of the most important things is that they prioritize cash flow. They prioritize liquidity, which I love, because if an opportunity comes by to buy another business or to invest in another business, I'm getting that liquidity back in a very short period to where I'm able to do that. So, let me talk about one of them right now. So one of the things that I've been investing now for the past year, there's probably about 5 different investments that I've put a good amount, we're talking 6 figures plus, into. But there's one that really kind of stands out right now to me. And it's been over almost about a year. And it's something that is called a business lending partner. So you guys that are watching this, you probably have heard about private credit, obviously. It's just where you're a private, you're not a bank, you lend out money, you charge an interest rate and a term, people pay you back. So it's kind of like that. But it's kind of a one step further. So there's an industry where there are businesses that, because of whatever's been in their past, the ownership, whatever, they have something that's kind of a negative on their credit report. Could have been a past bankruptcy, could have been some kind of trouble they got into financially years ago, And because of that, their credit is not the best. Or they've really never spent the time to build up credit. And so they've always paid things in cash, and so they have a non-existing credit rating, credit score. And so now they have a business that's successful, doing $10+ million a year in revenue. It's making great cash flow, but they need money to expand, to buy more product, to acquire another business that's in their same niche, whatever it may be, and banks are just not willing to lend to them. They have a very hard time getting traditional lending. And so they go to something called a merchant processor. Now, let me explain, because some of you guys might not know this. Others of you might be like, okay, Ben, I get it. But merchant processors, every business has merchant processing at this point. You walk into the store, swipe your card. That terminal where you're swiping your card, that is provided by a merchant processor. They process the payment, they take a piece, and that's how they make their money. Well, those merchant processors constantly reach out to these businesses and tell them, hey, we see that you're doing well. Do you want a loan? And if that business says, sure, they say, great, let me introduce you to our lending partner. And they introduce them to a lender. Now, the investment that I've been doing that has turned out really well is that lending partner. All right. So I invest by loaning money to that lending partner, who then takes that money and loans it out to these different types of businesses. Now, the cool thing is it's technically not a loan. What I mean is they are not just giving the money and say, pay us back, principal plus interest. They are buying the future receivables of that business. So let's say that business needs $100,000. The lending partner will say, hey, yeah, here's $100,000, but I'm buying $150,000 of your future receivables, future money that is coming back to you over the next 90 to 180 days. And by doing that, every day I'm going to direct ACH pull out of your account a certain amount to pay me back for the 150 I just bought, right? So that giving you 100 today, and typically it's fast, within 12 to 24 hours, and in exchange, I'm buying $150,000 of future receivables, future revenue, and to get that revenue to me, don't worry, you don't have to make the payments to me. I'm going to pull it out of your account every single day, and that's what they do. So it's not a loan, it's a transaction, 100 for your 150 in future receivables. And so businesses do this. In fact, a lot of businesses want to do this. They get over 300 applications a day, and they only fund about 1 or 2. So they're very picky on it. And so because of this, they're able to use that money multiple times per year from the investor, because they're paying us back on a 12-month term, and they're really only giving out 3 to 4 month loans. And so they use that money multiple times, and so therefore they're able to pay back an above market yield of 20+% on that money. Now the cool thing about this one is you're doing a promissory note with the lender, and so you get paid back every single month on the same day, principal plus interest. So for easy math, 20% yield, if you invest $100,000, that's $120,000 that's supposed to come back to you over 12 months. So $120,000 divided by 12 equals $10,000 a month. So the month you give the $100K, next month you're getting a $10,000 payment. The next month, a $10,000 payment. For the next 12 months to make $120K back. So you're getting that instant liquidity every month coming back to you, principal plus interest. And the cool thing is you can even take that payment that you get back and you can reinvest that payment to start a new promissory note that will also make 20% yield. So if you want to really maximize your returns and you're not living off the interest that you're making on the promissory note, you would just reinvest it every single month back into this thing. And instead of getting a 20% yield, you're getting a much higher yield because you're reinvesting it over the course of the 12 months. And so this one has been a game changer, honestly. I'm making a great yield, and I'm able to redeploy that cash if I need it in other places. But for right now, I just keep on reinvesting and continually see that yield grow more and more. And if you guys want to see what that could even look like, I challenge you to go and just, ChatGPT this or Grok AI this, whatever you want to do. Just say $100,000 at a 20% annual yield, compounded over 5 years. All right? And you'll see what I'm talking about in terms of how fast your money can grow. So that's just something I wanted to throw out there. That's one example of something that I've been investing heavily into and have enjoyed it, and have my family members and friends that are putting it to as well. And just to be totally open and transparent, so far I've put $150K into this particular investment. I'm putting up probably another $120K in the next few months. because I'm actually doing it through my solo 401k, so a self-directed IRA. So I'm able to invest in it. And that way it's just easy because there's no taxes on it since it's a Roth. And so just keep on putting it in, and making it go, reinvesting it every single month for compounded returns. But I've already put 150 into it, and I'm on track now to put another 120 into it. And this has been almost over the past year. Okay, it's full transparent. That's how much I put into it. And you probably have seen if you're seeing this video, you probably have seen an email where I actually show a snapshot of what I put into it, of the dashboard. That's the other thing. You have a dashboard. You can see the payments coming in. Everything is very organized. Now, one of the things I mentioned in the beginning of this video was why, once I started making cash flow, significant cash flow, and wanting to reinvest it, the only reason I found out about this particular investment was because I was networking with other individuals that were in a similar space as I was, in terms of similar high net worth individuals that have been successful in business, that were successful in acquisitions, and they had excess cash flow. And so I was just talking to them saying, hey, how are you investing your money? Obviously I have a little bit of money in the market, but there's got to be something else to do that's going to give me an outsized return, that I can have more of a say, or I can actually reach out to the people who I'm investing in and actually have conversations with them. Whereas in the market, you have no power, right? Like, unless you're Warren Buffett level, or you got, a huge percentage of a company, they're not going to take your phone call. There's no one to call, right? So I was looking for that type of opportunities, and by networking and talking to people that were in the similar place that I was, I started getting introduced to all these other opportunities, all these other private placement opportunities that I never would have had any access to. You can't Google these, the thing I just mentioned, and it pop up. It's just not going to happen. Or ChatGPT it. It's not going to pop up because these are not marketed out in the public. These are only really given to referrals, right? So I invest in it, so I tell my friend about it, who tells his friend about it, and that's how these investments grow in the private market. And so, so the lesson here is, by being a part of a network of people that are all kind of doing what you're doing, they're all going out there, they're building their businesses, they're acquiring businesses, they are building generational wealth, and they're also looking for opportunities in which to invest their money to get an outsized return. It's by connecting with those types of people that you get these opportunities, all right? It's not something you just go out and Google. You have to really put boots on the ground. You got to go, and you have to have these conversations and build these relationships. So that's probably one of the things that I'm going to be talking about in this series of videos. I don't know if I'm going to continue putting videos out like this. Again, this is kind of impromptu. Just thought I'd start talking about some of the things I'm learning being in this stage of life, and the things that I'm finding value in, and focusing my time and energy in order to continue building wealth for my family. So if you like this video, let me know in the comments what you want to hear next. Okay? What are the topics you want to hear next? It could be about some of the opportunities that I'm finding, or about how to network and how to get access to these types of things that I'm cultivating and kind of building out within my inner circle, right? And really putting effort into it. So hope you're having an awesome day, and let me know in the comments what you want to hear next, and hopefully I talk to you soon.